Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Jack Reacher, Understanding the Man. Today, we're diving into one of the most intriguing aspects of Jack Reacher's character, his habit of throwing away his clothes after every fight. Why does he do this? What's the reason behind this seemingly strange practice? Let's explore the possible explanations and uncover the mysteries that lie beneath Reacher's actions. Jack Reacher is known for his ruthless efficiency when it comes to dealing with threats. He's a skilled and powerful individual who doesn't hesitate to take down those who pose a danger to him or others. In the heat of battle, Reacher's clothes often become torn, bloodied, or contaminated with evidence. One possible explanation for Reacher's habit of discarding his clothes is that he simply wants to get rid of any reminders of the violence he's just experienced. By throwing away his clothes, he can mentally and physically cleanse himself of the conflict and move on. Another reason why Reacher might throw away his clothes is to maintain anonymity and avoid attracting unwanted attention. When he's involved in a fight, his clothes may become stained with blood or other materials that could link him to the incident. Disposing of these clothes helps him stay under the radar and avoid potential repercussions. Reacher's work often takes him to remote locations where law enforcement may be scarce or corrupt. In such scenarios, discarding his clothes could be a way to prevent identification and protect himself from potential legal trouble. By eliminating any physical evidence that could link him to a crime, he reduces the risk of being targeted or arrested. Beyond practical considerations, Reacher's habit of discarding his clothes could also have a symbolic meaning. By shedding his soiled garments, he's metaphorically shedding the negative aspects of the conflict he's just experienced. This act of divestment represents a cleansing process, allowing him to emerge from the battle both physically and psychologically. Reacher's actions could also be seen as a form of self-respect and dignity. He doesn't want to carry around reminders of violence and brutality. By discarding his clothes, he's asserting his control over the situation and showing that he's not defined by the violence he's been forced to endure. Reacher's wardrobe is often described as simple and functional, reflecting his minimalist approach to life. By throwing away his clothes after each fight, he's maintaining this simplicity and detachment from material possessions. This practice also reinforces his commitment to living a life free from unnecessary distractions and entanglements. In some cases, Reacher's decision to discard his clothes could also symbolize a significant change in his circumstances. For instance, if he's leaving a place where he's been involved in a conflict, throwing away his clothes could represent a fresh start and a break from his past. One intriguing psychological interpretation of Reacher's habit is that it stems from his deep-seated aversion to attachment. Reacher is a loner by nature, preferring solitude and detachment from material possessions and emotional entanglements. By discarding his clothes after each fight, he's symbolically shedding any connection to the event, preventing it from lingering in his mind or influencing his future actions. Reacher's habit also aligns with his acceptance of impermanence, a recurring theme in his character. He understands that everything is transient, even the clothes he wears. By throwing away his clothes, he's acknowledging the fleeting nature of existence and embracing the cycle of change and renewal. Another psychological aspect to consider is Reacher's desire to control the narrative surrounding him. By discarding his clothing, he's eliminating any physical evidence that could be used to define or identify him. By discarding his clothing, he's eliminating any physical evidence that could be used to define or identify him. This control extends to his perception of himself, allowing him to maintain a sense of detachment from the violence he experiences. Reacher's actions could also be seen as a form of psychological cleansing. By removing the remnants of the fight, he's symbolically purging himself of the negative emotions and memories associated with the conflict. This act of divestment allows him to move forward with a clear mind and a fresh start. Reacher's habit might also serve as a coping mechanism for dealing with trauma. By discarding his clothes, he's physically distancing himself from the physical and psychological effects of violence. This act of detachment can help him process and manage the trauma, preventing it from overwhelming him. In some cases, Reacher's decision to discard his clothes could also be a way to avoid the lingering effects of violence, such as bloodstains or odors that could trigger flashbacks. or emotional distress. By eliminating these reminders, he's protecting his mental well-being and maintaining his ability to function effectively. Reacher's habit of discarding his clothes after every fight can also be seen as a symbolic gesture of purity and renewal. By shedding his soiled garments, he's metaphorically cleansing himself of the negative influences and experiences that have tainted his life. This act of divestment represents a rebirth, allowing him to emerge from the battle both physically and spiritually refreshed. Reacher's actions could also be interpreted as a way to dissociate himself from the violence he encounters. By discarding the clothes that bear the marks of conflict, he's distancing himself from the consequences of his actions and the emotional weight of the situation. This act of detachment allows him to maintain a sense of objectivity and focus on the task at hand. Reacher's habit also speaks to his refusal to be defined by his past or by the violence he experiences. By discarding his clothes, he's symbolically shedding any labels or associations that might limit his potential or hinder his movements. This act of liberation allows him to remain open to new experiences and possibilities. Reacher's unwavering commitment to discarding his clothes after every fight is a testament to his remarkable self-discipline and unwavering commitment to his principles. It demonstrates his ability to control his impulses and maintain a sense of order even amid chaos. Reacher's habit of throwing away his clothes after every fight is also a symbol of his resilience and ability to bounce back from adversity. It shows that he is not fazed by the violence he encounters and that he is always prepared to start anew. Despite the numerous explanations and interpretations offered, Reacher's habit of throwing away his clothes remains a mystery shrouded in enigma. It is a quirk that adds to his enigmatic persona and makes him an even more intriguing character. From a practical standpoint, Reacher's habit of discarding his clothes after every fight serves as a highly efficient method of maintaining cleanliness and avoiding unwanted attention. It allows him to quickly rid himself of any evidence of conflict, minimizing the risk of being identified or tracked. On a deeper level, Reacher's habit represents a constant state of change and transition. By shedding his clothes after every fight, he symbolically leaves behind the past and embraces a new beginning. This act of renewal reflects his adaptability and resilience in the face of adversity. Reacher's actions also reflect his desire for control and protection. By controlling the narrative surrounding him, he minimizes his vulnerability and maintains a sense of autonomy. This habit serves as a protective barrier, shielding him from the potential consequences of his actions. Reacher's habit can also be interpreted as a form of self-empowerment. By taking control of his physical environment and removing reminders of violence, he asserts his agency and reinforces his sense of self-worth. This act of self-determination empowers him to move forward with confidence.